received a possible abduction of a 6-year-old female, and we worked tirelessly, relentlessly through the night, and I am glad to say that, thank the Lord, that we found her this morning alive and well. And we do have an individual in custody right now that we have some charges with. And what I want to say to the community is thank you for all your help. And these gentlemen standing behind me and beside me, we could not have done it without everybody working together. And here is a perfect instance where working together, we had a great outcome, which should not have been this. But thank the Lord for that. And I'd like to have our resident FBI agent in charge, Stanley, say a few words, please.
Good afternoon. Anytime a child is abducted, every second counts. Upon notification by the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office of this incident, the FBI deployed numerous resources to work hand in hand with the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office to bring this case to a successful resolution. Those resources included the deployment of numerous FBI special agents and analysts from the Charlotte Division. Additionally, the FBI brought in the Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team from FBI headquarters, which is specifically geared towards this type of case. As a result of the law enforcement's cooperative efforts and these partnerships and the community's willingness to work hand in hand with us, we were able to successfully bring this case to this resolution and bring this young child back to her family. The FBI is sincerely appreciative of the partnerships that have been formed in this community and of the willingness to continue to work together in these types of cases with the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office and the local district attorney's office as we move to have many successes in these unfortunate incidents.
Thank you both very much. And you know, I understand that this young woman's family is a family of deep faith. And I know that I speak for many in the law enforcement community and those who we represent in this area to say that our prayers have been answered and that this young woman fortunately was found alive and she is now with her family. We have a job to do on this earth, and throughout the night many people did their job, and I'm so proud to be a district attorney in a community where so many law enforcement agencies work together, involved us at an early stage, and were able to successfully not only find her, but apprehend a suspect. He is Douglas Edwards. He is age 46 years old and lives here in this area. We are awaiting a first appearance, and that you do not need to rush from this place to get there. We still anticipate that being several hours away. My office will notify you of the when and where of that first appearance when it takes place. Obviously, this takes the highest priority of law enforcement in my office, and I'm so pleased to be a part of this incredible team. And again, for everybody listening, it was your work. You know, we the people really step up at a time like this. We wish we had this level of cooperation with every case. The sheriff and I were talking about that yesterday. So important that we continue to stay engaged and treat all these cases like they're our children. Thank you all very much for coming forward, and if you would continue to have tips, please share them with us, because now the urgency for these investigators is going to be replaced by a very deliberate process where we have to make sure that all rights are protected and upheld. And so the talking I'll do after now is going to be in a courtroom. Thank you very much.
What do we know about Mr. Edwards? Is he related anyway to the family? Can you speak a little bit about...
We'll speak more about Mr. Edwards in court, and I am confident that you're going to be getting more details at that time. We cannot say anything pursuant to Rule 3.6 and 3.8 of the ethics rules beyond what I've already shared with you.
What charges is he facing?
First-degree kidnapping at this time. We do expect other charges to come forward after we complete our investigation, but for now, first-degree kidnapping.
Where was he picked up?
You're allowed to say that, Ed.
I don't know the exact location. We had him under surveillance all night long, and so we picked him up somewhere in the county a little bit earlier this morning.
How did you know where to look for the young girl?
Again, that's a detail that unfortunately pursuant to 3.6 and 3.8, we have an answer for you, and we will be developing that in the courtroom, but we can't say it in the court of public opinion.
How did you identify him? Was it a
Again,
tip from
with,
the phone?
without the partners standing up here with me, the FBI, the city, without everybody working together, we would have not, but early on, we had a suspect, and like I said, the detectives, everybody just worked so hard, non-stop, all night long, developing leads. The community stepped forward just tremendously. So again, because everybody worked together, we're able to stand here this morning, and that little girl is safe and sound with her mother.
We have heard reports of her being chained to a tree. Can you speak a little bit about her condition and
No.
how she was found?
That'll be developed in a courtroom. Unfortunately, these are all questions that have answers, and we will answer them. It's just not at this time and place, but we will be developing that fully in the courtroom.
Sheriff, why is this so emotional for you?
I have a granddaughter that age. It's personal when this is in our community, and this kind of stuff doesn't normally happen. So this is just very personal, and it should be to everybody. I mean, we have children, and I've got a granddaughter that age, so it's just this is the kind of stuff that right here, the community should be very proud of what happened in the last 15 hours or so with everybody working together. So.
Is there any motive that you can speak on?
We'll be talking about that in the courtroom.
I would like to know his address. Where does he live? You say he's from this area. Where?
We do have that. That would be the subject of a public records disclosure that I'll be glad to make to you immediately after this press conference. That is subject to disclosure, and we can give that to you, Fran, and we will right after this is over.
Okay. Is he from Wilmington?
He is a resident in New Hanover County.
Can you just describe the area in which she was found? I mean, we've heard that it's pretty heavily wooded. Was it hard to get to, hard to find?
You're allowed to
Anything you
say
can
that.
speak on that, Sheriff?
It was a heavily wooded area, and again, we have been in that area with the helicopter, with people. We've been all up and down along River Road and in the woods, and so we were able to find her again because of people giving us information and because of resources that were made available to us through the FBI.
Can you confirm that he's a sex offender?
We're going to talk about that in the courtroom, and many of these questions are going to have answers in short order. It's going to be in a courtroom, again, not in a press conference.
Can you say whether Edwards has been linked to any other similar crimes?
I'm going to be talking about that in front of a judge soon.
Do you have an estimate of the distance from where she lived to where she was found? Within a mile, within 2 miles, within 3 miles?
I don't have that. It was
within 3
within 2
miles.
miles.
She was found within 2 miles of her home.
Yes.
Can you say whether she was out there in the woods all night or elsewhere and then taken to the woods?
It's the subject of investigation, and again, a detail that we're going to be putting out. Is there anything else you want to say on that?
What is her condition? How's she doing?
We heard from the family that she's doing well.
Has she sustained any injuries that could compromise her life?
Right now, that the family, it's too early on to tell, but the family has given us some information that she is doing well.
Can you provide a timeline on how long it took for you to locate her?
Again, that will be coming out in the courtroom. We can't do that now. There's specific prohibitions if you turn to 3.6 and 3.8 that apply not only to prosecutors, but to those who I advise, and they're all around you right now. So unfortunately, we're just not able at this time to tell you. We do have answers to your questions, but that's going to be fully developed in a courtroom.
Maybe you can speak on how crucial the first 24 hours are in a situation where an Amber Alert is issued.
Stanley or
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Statistically, like I previously mentioned, every second counts. Statistically, the longer in duration towards the recovery, the more of an unfortunate outcome. However, in this instance, due to the tenacity of the investigators and the community involvement, we were able to adequately bring in the necessary resources to run down every lead we could to get to this resolution, which for us, for the community, resulted in a successful outcome.
I think you can say we beat the odds
Absolutely.
today, absolutely.
Can you
talk
say
a little
why
bit
that?
about what it takes to activate the Amber Alert? There's been a lot of people in the community that are not clear on, because it was several hours before the Amber Alert went out. Can you just say why that was?
Well, I think initially when we get a call, we take it very seriously, but we have got to meet some criteria. We have got to make sure before we put out the information, before we make the calls. So, you know, what we did through the investigation, as early on as we could determine this was an actual legitimate child abduction, which meets the criteria, then immediately we let everybody know. And again, it's just the having the resources and, you know, the Wilmington police right there beside us the entire time, and the FBI coming in, you know, conversations with our DA throughout the night and his staff, just everybody in the community was very key in giving us information. Because of the resources we had, we were able to follow up.
Any estimation on how many people, you know, were brought in and dogs and Sable involved in this operation to bring her home safely?
Oh, absolutely.
I'd say, I would easily say 100. I mean, it could have been more than that. When Lieutenant Brewer sends out the press release, he's going to list the different, some of the different agencies and entities that helped. And you see we have Warren Reed with the emergency management up here with us too, just critical resources that everybody can.
I think the other important note to highlight there is, while the number may be, as the sheriff put it, 100 boots on the ground essentially, there are numerous other personnel that are working throughout the state, specifically in the FBI and in FBI headquarters, that are working to assist to provide these resources that they may not necessarily physically be here, but they're devoting the time and the resources to help us bring this to a resolution.
Can you speak about how a crime like this can affect a young child for the rest of their lives? I mean, this is a kidnapping. It's obviously completely traumatic. Agent Stanley, can you speak on that, or is that something that any one of you folks can speak on?
For us, that would be, that question would be more geared towards our victim witness specialists who specialize in that field.
And are there anybody here that represent that agency?
For the FBI, we have our victim witness specialist in Raleigh has been assisting us.
Sheriff, can you talk a little bit about the actual abduction itself? You guys got a call shortly before 5. Just, you know, the basics. What happened? What did you know at that time?
I think we put out that when the call came in, the initial information was that a 6-year-old girl had been abducted from right in her yard area by somebody on a moped. I think we put that out earlier, and then, you know, as we got into it, the investigation, of course I don't want to talk a lot about that, but you all know how it just changes from, you know, just total different theories and information coming in. But that's the initial call that we got, that a 6-year-old girl had been abducted from her area by somebody on a moped, and we started with that.
Was it the red or
Who
black?
first reported it? You know, was she outside playing with her sister, and her sister told her parents, or anything like that? How did it first come to light? You know?
Well, again, I think initially came in and there was a younger sibling that was running into tell mommy that something had just happened. So it was something like that, and you know, things change on that, and then until we can get out there and actually start talking to people, and then we kind of started doing our timeline from there.
And were you able to find any other adults, maybe in the park? I heard some reports that they tried to chase the guy. Is that accurate?
Well, again, I really don't want to talk about a lot of stuff, but from the moment it happened, everybody, resources were coming in, and we had all kinds of police and deputies and state and federal agents everywhere. So a lot of different things came in. Again, I wouldn't be able to tell you everything, but.
So did he flee into the woods, or he went on the road?
Fran, we just can't talk about that at this time. It's going to come out. It just can't come out right now. We need to speak with clarity in a courtroom as we talk about the facts. We just can't do that in a press conference. I hope you all understand.
Can you clarify, was it the red or black moped?
And the ground that was covered during the search?
Black.
Thank you.
Black. And what was that? What was the question?
Can you talk about the search area and the ground that was the amount of ground that was covered during the search?
It's a very wide crime scene that's being processed now. That's something that's going to be obviously the subject of court proceedings, but just as no resource was withheld in order to find this young lady, we're going to use every resource at our disposal to make sure that we get to the truth of what happened and present it to this community in a courtroom. So So this is just the start, it's not the end. It's the end of finding her, but it's the start of a criminal process, and that's why we have to be somewhat guarded with what we say right now. We'll say that from everybody from her church to certainly law enforcement to my office, all have Spanish-speaking folks there who have been working with this family and will continue to. We know that there's resources in place to help her, and that's going to be a different component of this. We're now going to focus on justice and accountability, and that's going to be in a courtroom. And when that first appearance takes place, you will be notified when and where, but that's really all we can say at this time for it, as it relates to the facts of the case.
And again, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you all.
Microphones.
Leave with all this then. Oh, you won't be able to leave, then you can do this. Hear everything you do. Off camera, here's what happened.
Oh, now they can have cold drinks later.